my beauties and bees, and welcome to a HiveScience review. Oh, goodness gracious, we got another video of really, really bad science. So I've been trying to punctuate this, right? Trying to punctuate this to my audience that these top 20, top 10 deadliest sharks, top 100 giant spiders, things like that, they're usually really bad. And we're gonna look at one today just to kind of give you an idea of what the problem is with these types of videos. So yeah, let's pop right in. So this is, oh, you can't see it. It's the 20 dangerous insects you're glad are extinct. Now let's make sure we take that title in. Dangerous insects you're glad are extinct. Now insects is a very specific clade. Now we said bugs, I could say colloquially, yeah, we're fine, but we're not going to see insects making up the entirety of this list, unfortunately. But let's see what they have to say and why we're glad that these organisms are extinct, okay? So,
welcome to a new video. Are you fascinated by insects that once roamed our Earth? Nowadays, most people already dislike regular insects, but can you imagine?
I love regular insects, but I want to also note that the background music that they play during this is the same background music that they use for bedtime stories, a creepy horror story channel that I follow.
And what they look like in the past? Some of the insects that lived back then were much larger and also quite dangerous. Today we'll show you the 20 most dangerous insects that you're glad are extinct. Are you new to this channel? Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell.
I will
and
not be
also like the video.
I will not be recommending this video, and you will see why in just a moment.
Number 20. Anomalocaris was a large invertebrate that could reach a length of up to almost 16 inches or 40 centimeters, excluding its front appendages and tail fin. This insect lived about 500 million years ago, during the Cambrian period.
Okay.
It had a pair of large
so far we're good.
Eyes and swimming.
We're good so far, except for
flaps along its body. The Anomalocaris was one of the largest predators of its time and had a very unusual way of catching its prey. Its front appendages had spiky hooks and were used to grasp prey. After grabbing the prey, it would be brought to the creature's sharp-toothed circular mouth to be crushed. Scientists believe this insect was an active hunter.
This was not an insect. It's not an insect. Stop right there. Do not call Anomalocaris an insect. Now, he's going to talk about that they thought it was a composition creature for a while, but let's punctuate that the Anomalocaris is absolutely not an insect.
Initially, Anomalocaris fossils were incorrectly identified as belonging to 3 separate creatures. However, this insect had a unique way of moving, using its swimming flaps to propel itself through the water in a snake-like manner. Anomalocaris was one of the largest animals of the Cambrian and is believed to have been a top predator. Despite its frightening appearance and predatory lifestyle, the Anomalocaris was not invincible, as it was hunted by similar species. Number 19. The Gigatitan was a huge insect that lived during the Permian era, which took place 298 to 200.
Okay, so the Gigatitan did not live during the Permian era. No, it lived after the Permian extinction event, the Permian Triassic extinction event. It lived in the Triassic, in the middle Triassic. What they call the, what is the period here? Yeah, I don't have it up. I did take some notes for this, but this animal did not live during the Permian.
152 million years ago. This period was marked by some of the most dramatic changes in Earth's history, including the formation of the supercontinent Pangaea. There was also a mass extinction at the end of Permian, with about 96% of marine...
Permian. Yeah, I mean, and this organism that we're talking about here didn't exist until well after the Permian extinction event.
Species and 70% of terrestrial species dying out. The Gigatitan was a predatory extinct insect with a wingspan of 28 inches or 71 centimeters. Additionally, it had...
Oh, whoa. 16 inches, 40 centimeters is the wingspan. 16 inches. What did he say?
was a predatory extinct insect with a wingspan of 28 inches or 71
No.
centimeters.
Where are you getting that from? No, that's false. False information. Wrong.
It had large wings that were covered with a network of veins, which provided support and strength for flight.
Okay.
These wings were attached to a sturdy, muscular thorax, which also housed the insect's powerful legs. An interesting fact about the Gigatitan is that it wasn't a true dragonfly.
It wasn't even closely related to dragonflies. It's an orthopteran, which is like the grasshopper family. Grasshoppers, crickets, waders, cave crickets. You know, the hoppy guys. It wasn't related to dragonflies at all.
But belonged to a group of insects known as megarid flies. These insects were some...
Not megarid flies. No. They belong to an extinct genus called a Titanotera, which is basically the giant wings, because they were really these big giant members of the grasshopper family. But they're not unreasonably large. I mean, 16 inches is pretty huge. But there's some large katydids today. The greater arid land katydid has like a 9-inch wingspan. They're huge. But yeah, this is not the stuff he's saying is all wrong.
One of the largest and most ruthless predators of the Permian era, capable of capturing and eating other insects, as well as small reptiles and amphibians. Imagine how terrifying it would have been if humans had lived during this period. Number 18. The Megalograptus was one of the earliest known predatory arthropods and played a crucial role in
arthropods, not anthropods. But am I being too harsh on this guy? He's trying to do an educational video, but he's arthropods. Arthropods just means the only time that arthropod would be appropriate is describing a human, maybe a cyborg human, like a robot. Or an alien or something. That's where you'd use the term anthropod. Something that moves like a human. Like all the races from Star Trek are anthropod races. But arthropod is what we're talking about. Arthropod, not anthropod. But yeah. Let's hear that back.
Known predatory arthropods and played a crucial role in shaping early marine ecosystems. The Megalograptus was a sea scorpion that lived during the Silurian era, around 430 million years ago. It was
not during the Silurian era, during the Ordovician era, before the Silurian era. The time frame's wrong. Again, Megalopterus lived during the Ordovician, the late Ordovician, which is before the Silurian.
The kind of aquatic predator that would have lived in a shallow sea and reef environment. It was also one of the largest arthropods of its time, with a body length of up to 40 inches or 1 meter. In addition to its long body, it had a pair of large claws.
78 centimeters, 2.7 feet, so much smaller than what he's advising here. The sizes on most of the stuff we're talking about have been exaggerated. Jesus.
Claws at the front, which it used to capture and crush its prey. It also had long, thin legs, which allowed it to move through the water.
Well, and big fat paddle legs too. Had some thin legs, had big paddles so it could swim as well.
However, its body was covered with a hard external skeleton that provided protection and support. One of the most interesting features of the Megalograptus was its respiratory system. Instead of gills, it absorbed oxygen from the water through small plate-like structures on its external skeleton.
Yeah, they were like book gills, is what we kind of compare them to, which you do see in some modern organisms. All right, 17. What are you going to throw at me next?
Number 17. The Titanomiarme, better known as the giant ant, was a prehistoric ant that lived during the Eocene epoch, around 34...
Eocene epoch. You don't say epoch. Unless you have some kind of accent I'm not picking up on. It's epoch. Eocene epoch. At least you got the right one. So I'll give you points for that.
4 to 56 million years ago. The Titanomiarme was one of the largest ants that ever existed, with a body length of up to 2 inches or 5 centimeters. It's believed to have been a top...
So when they say that, it's comparable in size to Doriolis, the driver ants, like that you see in East Africa and Central Africa, the ones that that can eat a baby, and you have to be careful about. They're the big soldiers with the huge fangs. Their queens can get absolutely massive. The males are also quite large. They call them sausage flies, and they're freaking like 3 or 4 inches long. But like the average size of a driver ant is right around the same size as Titanomyrna or Myrma. Yeah. He doesn't have an accent. He's never opened a book. I know the stuff I know, Ryan, and that's kind of what it is. It's like when I see someone, like last week this guy made a video about Gigantopithecus versus Tyrannosaurus. It was awful. So I'm gonna have to trim that out and share it with you guys so you can see it. But this one is also been quite terrible so far. But we're only 3 or almost 4 minutes into a 22-minute video.
Top predator in its ecosystem, hunting other insects and even small vertebrates. There were 2 types of Titanomyrmae, Titanomyrmae gigantea and Titanomyrmae similima. However, the Titanomyrmae gigantea was larger and more aggressive. The giant.
Well, so you're inferring behavior. We don't know if it could have been. This could have been a leaf cutter too that farmed fungus and all that good stuff. We don't know for sure if it was predatory. We don't know with this species yet. As far as its paleo ecology, it was kind of up in the air. There's been suggestions different ways, but right now to say that it was for sure a predator, that's just silly. Yeah, at least the Kung Fu was entertaining. That's true.
Giant ant also had a distinctive jaw structure that served to easily capture prey, and scientists think it also had a venomous sting. The size of this ant is believed to be linked to the concentration of oxygen.
Yeah, the sting's fine. That's completely acceptable. There's a lot of ants that have stings. It's not out of the question. Even herbivorous ants that sting. Yeah. How Prager says menstruation. How's he say it? Menstruation, something like that. He just says it really weird.
Oxygen in the atmosphere during the Isani Posh. At that time,
Eocene epoch.
Oxygen levels were higher than they are now, which possibly enabled insects to reach larger sizes.
The only place, because I looked this up, I was like, I've never heard an argument that the oxygen levels were higher during the Eocene. To make it clear, like when you talk about the Eocene, you're not, it's not like a super long time ago or anything. It's the Eocene's within the last, let me see here. Let me get a time frame for the Eocene, just a second. So I don't want to get it wrong, but yeah. 56 to 33 million years ago. So not like when we talk about time periods with different oxygen levels, right? We're talking about the Paleozoic era, the Cambrian, the Ordovician, the Silurian, the Devonian, and even we get up into the Carboniferous. That's where in the Permian. That's where the oxygen levels. The Carboniferous ended with the oxygen levels at I think the highest that they've ever been historically. Not historically, it's not historic, but prehistorically, I guess. But the oxygen levels peaked at the end of the Carboniferous, as far as I'm aware. The Eocene, while the oxygen levels maybe, let's see, the start of the Eocene is marked by a brief period in which concentrations of carbon isotope, that's C13, in the atmosphere was exceptionally low in comparison to the more common isotope, carbon-12. The end is set at a major extinction event. Okay. Yeah, so we know that. But I've not ever heard any claims that the oxygen levels were different enough to allow insects to grow large in the Eocene. The only place I saw a reference to that impacting this specific species of ant was on a Young Earth Creationist website, right? But they think they lump them all together. 'Cause any large insect, any large animal at all is evidence of their pre-flood world. They don't think that there's different time period. So they think they're all, like all the big insects, all the big animals, all the dinosaurs and everything lived in one ecosystem where there was just full of giant animals, is the argument. Not that they had a balanced ecosystem with different sizes of different animals and stuff. Anyway.
Despite its size, it was still an efficient and cooperative member of its colony. It's believed to have functioned much like modern ants, with a clear division of labor. Can you imagine thousands of ants the size of this coming at you? Quite a creepy thought. Number 16. Initially, when the megarachne was found, it was thought to be a giant spider.
Oh, God.
But later, studies revealed that it was a sea scorpion, known as a...
We know megarachne, right? Everybody knows megarachne. If you don't, I recommend watching Walking with Beasts. Walking with Monsters, not Walking with Beasts. But you need to watch Walking with Beasts, too, just because. But if you watch Walking with Monsters, you'll better understand Bree. You'll better understand me. Megarachne was, they thought was a giant spider. It's, yeah, like you said, it was a Eurypterid. So, not wrong there. But the depiction of the giant spider in Walking with Monsters was built on this this model of megarachne as a giant prehistoric spider, and then they found out it was a Eurypterid, not a spider. They'd already made too much of the movie to or the documentary to scrap it. It was too much of an important organism that they switched it to just a mesotheliid spider, which there's mesotheliid spiders today. Yeah.
Eurypterid. Eurypterids are an extinct group of aquatic arthropods that lived during the Paleozoic
Arthropods
era, which extended from 541 to 251 million years ago. The species of megarachne was first discovered in the 1980s, based on a fossilized imprint found in Argentina. Since then, further research has been conducted to better understand this fascinating creature. It's believed to have lived in shallow seas, and used its powerful claws to capture and kill prey. One of the most notable features of the megarachne, however, was its size. Initially, it was thought that its legs spanned an estimated 13 feet or 4 meters. However, the estimate was later challenged by scientists.
And that's one of the, when I was a kid, I remember reading, they had like a kid's book on prehistoric animals, talking about how during the Paleozoic there were 4-meter spiders and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I want to learn more about them. And I started, and as I got older and started researching it more, it became very apparent that it was not something that actually existed. It was something based on what one person interpreted on this fossil as a giant aquatic spider that was ancestral to modern spiders. And that was the idea of what this organism was when I was a child, right? So I grew up with the idea of this, and so I was super disappointed to find out that there were not really giant spiders, and that the spiders that we have today are actually the largest. But this one, he talks about living in shallow seas. It was actually, we actually think that that megarachne, not as it's shown living here on land, but that it actually lived in freshwater environments and like floodplains. And it may have even ventured onto land like crabs, with a very crab-like lifestyle.
With some suggesting it was smaller. Despite its smaller size, the megarachne is still an important species to study, as it provides insights into the evolutionary history of arthropods.
And it's still huge. And arthropods. I'm gonna, every time he says arthropods, I'm gonna stop it and say arthropods.
Namely, the megarachne and other eurypterids belong to the early...
That's not a eurypterid. That's a Anomalocaris, which I think you already talked about. So you know that's not a eurypterid.
These arthropods that evolved. Number 15.
Arthropods.
The Dinocroton draculae, also known as Dracula, is a giant extinct tick that lived during the Cretaceous period, about 99 million years ago. It was...
Yes! He nailed it. Got the time right, even down to the year, because we only have I think we only have the one fossil of this. It's an amber find with the dinosaur feathers.
first identified in 2014 when a fossil was found in a piece of amber, allowing the tick to be preserved in exceptional detail. The species was named Dracula due to its long pointed mouth parts, which resemble the fangs of the famous vampire. Like modern ticks, the Dinocroton draculae feed on the blood of other animals. While it's not exactly clear which animal this specific species preyed upon, it's thought that it possibly targeted dinosaurs, as feathers from a dinosaur were
It was literally found in a dinosaur feather, not just to suggest that it wasn't a dinosaur parasite is kind of a stretch. I don't know. I mean, we're never completely 100% sure, but yeah. Become crab. Yes, Ring. Let's all become crab.
Found in the same amber specimen as the tick. What makes this tick so interesting, however, are its unusual mouth parts. Unlike modern ticks, which have knife-like mouth parts to cut into the skin, the Dinocroton draculae had long barb-like structures, with which it pierced the skin of its prey. This suggests that the tick might have had a different method of latching onto its host than the modern ticks do.
Yeah.
Number 14.
Which is fine. That's fine for the ticks to have different mouth parts. I don't disagree with anything he said there. As a matter of fact, I think this might have been the tick might have been the best researched invertebrate on this list so far, because this list is just invertebrates. I mean, it's not even just arthropods, as you're going to see soon.
Modifica putus is an extinct species of cockroach that lived during the Cretaceous period, about 100 million years ago. One of the most notable characters.
Yes, so and then we're going to see these numbers a lot, because 99 to 100 million years ago is where these amber deposits are in Myanmar. Burmese amber is what they call it sometimes. Very problematic. But this is interesting dicterin, all right? It's in Blattaria, right? So it's in the cockroach family, or cockroach order, I should say. But it's very distinct. Let me... It is very. You'll see why, looking at this organism, why the divergence, why and when the divergence of mantises and cockroaches. Why we know that there weren't cockroaches in the Paleozoic, because this is what cockroaches looked like in the Cretaceous. They were still very mantis-like.
Characteristics of this species is its elongated forelegs, which were likely used to grasp and manipulate objects, hence the name manipulator. This unique adaptation is different from what we see in living cockroach species and suggests a highly specialized lifestyle. Based on morphology, scientists believe that this cockroach possibly lived in a challenging environment.
So there's some dispute about this, some recent dispute, because for a long time this is a predatory cockroach, and there are other predatory cockroaches in the fossil record, and they do have mantis-like raptorial forearms for grabbing prey when they need to. There has also been put forth the idea that this animal was feeding on flowers, like a pollinator, which is not out of the question, considering this niche was new at the time in the Cretaceous, late Cretaceous, and that flowers flowers and their pollinators were kind of finding their balance. It wouldn't be surprising to learn that there was a dedicated pollinator that was a cockroach at one point in the fossil record. However, none of this is for certain at this point. A lot of it is going to come with study of the mandibles, but we'll see what happens.
With many obstacles and vegetation. Another unique feature of this cockroach species is a modification to its hind leg, which is likely used as a sensory antenna, providing the cockroach with additional info about its surroundings.
No. Sensory antenna? Where are we getting that from? I have not seen any papers indicating that the manipulator had sensory organs on its hind limbs. And I'm not saying it's out of the question that's not a possibility, but a lot of insects with long hind limbs, when insects have long hind limbs that can indicate a couple of things. Depending on the structure of them, long hind limbs can be used for leaping, but they're also efficient for an arboreal lifestyle, for climbing. For like mantises, again, are a good example, but stick insects as well. They'll have elongated hind limbs that help them to stretch their body a little bit further to reach foliage that would normally be out of reach.
This modification is not seen in any other known cockroach species. Therefore, the discovery of this cockroach provides valuable insights into the evolutionary history and the adaptations that enable these insects to survive in diverse environments for millions.
Yeah, but you can see the structure here. Look at that. That's very mantis-like. See, with the stance of the legs, with that, Anyway.
Of years. As cockroaches are such successful and resilient organisms, it may also tell us more about the natural history of the planet. Number 13. The Meganeuropsis permiana was one of the largest...
Meganeuropsis! Finally! I love Meganeuropsis. Let's do this. Griffin fly.
Insects that ever lived, with a wingspan of more than 27 inches or 70 centimeters. In comparison, the largest wingspan of a living dragonfly is only about
28 inches. It's a high end. We generally look at like 13-inch. So not like that, but 27 inches is not completely out of the question for the species.
0.5 inches or 19 centimeters. This prehistoric species lived during the Permian period, about 275 million years ago. They likely fed on some...
Good. That's accurate. Accurate time period. Well, not sure. He said 207. Did he say 275? Because 283 to, or 290 to 283 is generally what we're talking about. So a little bit earlier, but I don't know if he's maybe looking. Let me look and see. Maybe he's looking at info on griffin flies in general. But no, griffin flies in general have a much larger gap of time that they cover.
Small insects and small vertebrate animals, using their sharp jaws to grab their prey. They probably also use their impressive size and strength to ward off potential predators. The Meganeuropsis was adapted for flight, with large transparent wings and a relatively lightweight body. However, their size may have made flying a challenge, and scientists suspect that they might have had to rely on gliding.
What? Oh my. You're gonna have to substantiate that claim. No, griffin flies could fly efficiently. There were the idea that these animals were gliding. I don't know where that's coming from at all. They definitely have the structure for powered flight.
To stay in the air for extended times. Like many other species, this insect eventually went extinct about 252 million years ago, during the Permian-Triassic extinction event. The Permian-Triassic was the most...
It was long gone before the Permian-Triassic extinction event, my dude. What's the age? It's the Artinskian age, which was not the final stage of the Permian period. These guys didn't live to the end of the Permian extinction event. Griffin flies died out at the end of the Permian event, but this species was long gone before then.
Severe extinction event in Earth's history, with over 90% of all marine species and more than 70% of all vertebrate animal species disappearing.
Why is it showing the extinction of the dinosaurs? That's not the same. Why couldn't it show the Dimetrodons at least? Not the Dimetrodons were around at the end of the Permian either, but that would have been better.
These dragonflies lived during the period when the first mammals and the first dinosaurs were evolving. Could you imagine what it would have been like to see these giant dragonflies flying over your head? Number 12. The Mongoloarachni were some of the largest spiders that ever existed, with a leg...
False! Not even close. Not even close to there's like several spiders around today that are larger. It's not even the largest Nephilia that we know of.
Span of up to 6 inches or 15 centimeters. In comparison, the average spider today has a leg span of only a few inches or centimeters.
But not the large spiders. And you show tarantulas there. I say tarantulas. The average leg span of a species of tarantula is probably about 2.5 to 3 inches. But among those species, there are several that regularly exceed leg span of 10 inches, which is huge. It's huge. 10 inches. 10-inch leg span. So, make no mistake, spiders today are the biggest that we know of. Tarantulas today are the biggest that we know of. And when it comes to Nephilia, we got golden silk orb weavers that actually they do eat dinosaurs. They eat birds all the time.
This colossal spider sprawled the Earth during the Jurassic period, around 165 million years ago. The Jurassic period was a time of significant evolutionary innovation, during which many new species of plants and animals evolved. The Mongol
Damn it, John Hudson. High above the mucky muck castle made of cloud, there sits Wonder Boy sitting oh so proudly. There you go.
was just one example of this incredible diversity of life that existed at the time. It turns out these spiders were predators, likely feeding on small
It turns out these spiders were predators, guys. Spiders were predators.
vertebrate animals and other insects. Their large size and strength made them fierce hunters, capable of taking down prey much larger than themselves. Scientists believe
They lived in webs, so they didn't have to worry about taking down prey with their strength or their size. They get tangled in their webs.
that the Mongol arachne lived in burrows that were
No, what? No, what did you just say?
themselves. Scientists believe that the Mongol arachne lived in burrows that were
No, it's a Nephilia. It lives in a web, a big web, a big web that catches things flying. No, you are wrong. Oh my gosh.
up to nearly 3 feet or 1 meter deep. These burrows may have
They didn't live in burrows. What are you talking about?
served as a protection and refuge from other predators in harsh environmental conditions. If you're already afraid of spiders, you'll probably be very glad that this spider species is extinct, huh? Number 11.
Oh,
The Optinophorissus burmanicus is a genus of extinct wasps that contains 8 known species, and it's the only genus in the family of Optinophorisidae. The wasps in this genus stand out for their unique appearance, which is compared to the combination of an ant, a grasshopper, and a wasp.
well, ants are wasps, so let's be clear here. As far as the grasshopper thing, they just say that because it has the thick back legs. The fossil does. It doesn't actually look anything like a grasshopper other than that.
Thanks to one specimen that was remarkably well preserved, scientists were able to study the wasp in detail. The remarkable fossil showed a well-preserved head, but due to the preservation process, the abdomen was flattened. The wasp is thought to have a slender body with a distinctive neck-like structure. The head was elongated and had a large compound eye, antenna, and strong jaws. The wings are clear with visible veins and small hairs, and the legs were long and slender, resembling those of a grasshopper.
Yeah.
The specimen found
It does look kind of ant-like, and it had big, powerful legs for hopping.
was a female. It's a wingless wasp, but it's believed that the species lost its wings due to dense vegetation in the surrounding environment. Number 10.
So there's a lot of wasp species that where the females don't have wings, right? A lot of wasp species where just the males are flying around and the females are wanderers.
Trilobites were among the first animals to develop eyes, with some species possessing very complex and advanced visual systems. They belong to the earliest.
I will allow that. I don't know how true that is about developing developing eyes. There's certainly some of the earliest eye structures that we're able to study because of the way that the trilobites are preserved, because of their high calcium content, that we're able to get a good idea of what they looked like. They're so robust in the fossil record.
known arthropods and ruled the
Arth-
shallow waters
Arthropods.
to the vast depths of the ocean. Trilobites lived in the early Cambrian to the end of the Permian, approximately 520 to 251 million years ago. They were incredibly diverse, with over 20,000
Good time frame. Good.
different species known from the fossil record. Their bodies were divided into three main parts: the head, thorax, and tailpiece, with distinctive legs attached to the...
And people get confused sometimes and think that that trilobite is the tri part is the head, the body with the legs, and then the tail area. And actually, it's because they're divided into three sides here. They're like this side, the middle, and then this side. So there's like two lobes on either side of the body, which is unique. A unique structure and not seen in modern day invertebrates.
Thorax. Despite their diversity and success over millions of years, they died out around the same time as the dinosaurs.
He did the time right. 200 or 500. He said 520 to 252, which is 521 to 251.9 million years ago. And then he said they died out at the same time as the dinosaurs. He said they died out at the same time as the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs did not die out in the Permian Triassic extinction event. The dinosaurs died in the Cretaceous extinction event, the PKG. They did not die out in the same extinction event. I got to hear that again, because I think you said it.
Success over millions of years, they died out around the same time as the dinosaurs. Can you believe there were so many scary and large insects on Earth back then? Let me know in those comments.
Definitely not an insect.
Parapuzosa separendensis is an extinct species.
Also not an insect.
Of ammonite that lived during the late Cretaceous period, approximately 83 to 71 million years ago. It
99 to 71 million years ago.
Inhabited the marine environments of what is now Westphalia, Germany. It's the largest known species of ammonite, with a shell that could reach up to 4 feet, or 1.2 meters in diameter, and weigh over 220 pounds.
Wow, for the first time he shortchanged them. The largest ammonite shells that we have are 6 foot 6 inches, so 2 meters, 2 full meters. So this is the first time he's shortchanged a species on this list.
Kilograms. However, it's unclear whether the ammonite was a fast swimmer or mainly lived in the seabed. The exact size is a matter of debate, as many specimens are incomplete or damaged. But scientists agree that there were no larger ammonites than this one. The name ammonite comes from the spiral shape of the animal's shell, which is thought to resemble the horns of an ancient Egyptian god, Ammon. These distinctive spirals of ammonite shells have been used as a symbol for the interconnectivity of everything.
Yeah, these are very, and ammonite shells are very popular bookmarking tools for the fossil record, right? It'd be used to index the record. The trilobites too, that we just talked about a second ago, but both are really good or really preserving in the fossil records. They are distinctive for their time period, so they can tell us how old each layer is, just by their presence there. We know.
Number 8. Arthropleura is the largest millipede that ever lived and could reach an incredible length of 8.5 feet or 2.6 meters long. This animal was found in the coal swamps in Scotland.
8.2 feet, but 2.5 meters. That's fine. That's fine. The coal swamps of Nova Scotia and Scotland. Is that what you're gonna...
in North America, and lived during the late Carboniferous period, about 300 million years ago. They lived
into the Permian too. Arthropleura lived the Carboniferous. I mean, they are a distinct character of the Carboniferous for sure, but Arthropleura did survive the Carboniferous rainforest collapse extinction event that bridged between the Carboniferous and the Permian period.
Pleura was a herbivore and fed on plants and other plant material it could find in wooded areas. It likely used its powerful jaws to grind tough plant material, similar to herbivorous insects such as grasshoppers and beetles today. Despite its impressive...
Why not compare it to millipedes today? Because there's still millipedes today. There's still millipedes that follow this body structure today. Feathered millipedes, they're tiny, but they look just like this. They have a tiny
size,
Arthropleura.
the Arthropleura was not a predator and probably posed no threat to other larger animals. Its main defense mechanism was probably its sturdy external skeleton, which provided protection against predators and environment.
You know, I was watching Based Theory and Dr. Dino the other day doing a tier list of prehistoric animals. Which ones were the most, like, if we win in a fight was the central idea. But Arthropleura was on the list, and they were disputing whether or not that it could defeat a Australopithecus. I think an Australopithecus would just destroy this animal, honestly. Like, smash its head. It's not a... I know that, like, if you watch these old documentaries and stuff, Walking with Monsters is one of them. It's like they make it like it's a cobra. Like it's the cobra of its day. It's like... whoosh, got big fangs and stuff. Not present in this organism at all. It probably could not rear up in any way. Centipedes can, and there may have been some absolutely massive centipedes we haven't pinned down yet. There's some dubious fossils. We might talk about that sometime in the future.
Environmental hazards. The extinction of the Arthropleura is still a topic of debate among scientists. Some believe that changes in climate and vegetation patterns during the late Carboniferous contributed to its demise, while others suggest that more complex ecosystems and the evolution of new apex predators in the area played a role.
No doubt.
Number 7.
Could be both. Could be both.
Radiodonts like Cambrobroster are often called sea monsters due to their unusual and bizarre appearance. Cambrobroster is an extinct genus
Back to the Burgess Shale. Woo!
of herded radiodonts that lived during the Middle Cambrian approximately 505 to 510 million years ago. This unique insect is a monotypic genus, meaning
not
it's
an
the only known
insect.
species
Absolutely not an insect. No. No. Bad.
within the genus. The name Cambrobroster is derived from the characteristic claws of the animal, which consisted of a series of parallel protrusions. These sharp claws were used to capture food and may have been adapted to the intricate ecosystems of the oceans.
I think like filter feeding maybe was the idea with these combs. There's comb-like appendages that would sweep down and collect organisms from the environment. Titanochorus was actually bigger than this one, but there's not a lot of radiodonta that even approach this size. So of the species, especially the Burgess Shale, this thing is absolutely monstrous. It's about a foot long, about as big as a $5 foot long.
The marine creature belonged to a diverse group of arthropods that were once among the most dominant and
Arthropods.
successful predators in the oceans. They were also known for their bizarre and highly often specialized anatomical features, such as their complex spiny spines and multi-segmented limbs. Despite their intimidating appearance, some species preyed only on small animals and plankton, while others scavenged carcasses or engaged in filter feeding.
Yeah, filter feeding's prominent for this species is the leading theory. But you're right, there were other species that fed in other ways, but...
Number 6. Campanile giganteum is an exceptionally large fossil sea snail that lived in the oceans during the Eocene epoch. The shells of these sea snails are often found
Eocene epoch. Eocene epoch.
in rock layers that also contain fossils of other ancient animals, providing important clues about the ecology of the oceans millions of years ago. It's believed that these sea snails lived on Earth 56 to 34 million years ago. They belong to the family of Campanilidae, a group of marine mollusks known for their distinctive elongated shells. This sea snail was remarkable for its size, with its shell reaching lengths of 4 feet or 120 centimeters, making it one of the largest species of mollusks to have ever lived.
So, yeah, 120 centimeters, yeah, 47 inches. Yeah, we're so far, this is right up there with the tick so far. As far as I can tell, this has been fairly accurate.
However, other animals had to be cautious around this creature, as its shells had a sharp-pointed tip and a series of fine rib-like ridges. Campanile giganteum is primarily found in the Paris Basin in France, where it lived in shallow marine waters. Like other members of its family, it likely fed on small organisms, such as plankton and other microorganisms.
Yeah.
Number 5.
Good job.
Eucalyptus is an
Gigolopterus, yay! We're back to Eurypterids.
extinct aquatic arthropod that was predatory and lived in our oceans over 400 million years ago. This species was first described in 1914 by...
Not an anthropod, an arthropod. I cannot say it how many times. Arthropod. Arthropod. Get it through your thick head clod.
German geologist named Otto Jekyll. These creatures are known as sea scorpions, although they are not true scorpions. The largest species of Eucalyptus is believed to have grown up to 8 feet, 4 inches, or 2.5 meters long, making it one of the largest arthropods in the history of the Earth. Despite its large size,
Arthropod.
Eucalyptus was a fast swimmer, and likely capable of swiftly pursuing and capturing its prey. It had a long, segmented body with a pair of large, pincer-like claws at the front. Like other sea scorpions,
I actually got to stand next to the one in the Field Museum. It is absolutely massive. It was like, I don't know, like 2 times my height. It was so huge. It was so cool to get to see it. So if you get a chance to go to the Field Museum, take it.
Scorpions, it was a powerful predator, and prey such as fish and other aquatic animals stood no chance. Fossils of this creature have been found in various parts of the world, including Europe, North America, and South America.
Yeah, it's pretty
Scientists believe
cosmopolitan.
that it played an important role as a top predator and contributed significantly to the evolution of other species. Number 4. Paleodictyoptera was a group of large extinct flying insects that were abundant approximately 300 million years ago.
He's showing a dragonfly here. It's not a dragonfly. Not closely related to dragonflies. If you look into it diverged from other insects, like at the Pterygoda level, right? So way back. This is not closely related to anything alive today. It diverged shortly after the ancestors like silverfish and bristletails and firebrats and stuff diverged. It's not a dragonfly, and it really doesn't look too much like a dragonfly either. These are sometimes called the six-winged insects, because they have this like pseudo wing thing at the front of their body. Thoracic segment is what it is. It's not made up of the same genes as the wings, though.
These insects were characterized by their broad, flat wings, spanning several inches, or...
See, I guess the little ones in the front there. But they're not really, you could call them winglets, I guess. Sorry, I clicked
4
the wrong way.
centimeters, and supported by a network of veins. The most well-known Paleodictyoptera belonged to the family Megacycoptera, which included some of the largest insects ever known. These insects had wingspans that could reach over 20 inches or 50 centimeters. They were likely opportunistic feeders, consuming...
They had really long cercid, too, which is the prong things that stick out the back end of insects. They're called cerci, but these guys had really long wings. So they'd make it look a lot more massive than it actually was when it was flying, too. But yeah, the 22-inch wingspan is not out of the question for this organism.
A variety of plant material, insects, and other small animals. Their wings would have enabled them to glide over long distances and make rapid turns, making them agile hunters. Paleodictyoptera has also been a significant source of information about the evolution of wings and insects. Their
keep
wings
showing
differ in
dragonflies.
several ways from that of modern insects, including their shape, the way they are supported, and how they stabilize the wings during flight. Like other insects, they
Very different in their anatomy, in their flight anatomy.
eventually went extinct, about 300 to 250 million years ago. The exact cause of their extinction is unknown, but it's thought to have been caused by a combination of factors. Number 3. Opabinia regalis was first described by Charles Doolittle Walcott in 1912.
Wait, what?
He
Opabinia. Opabinia is the name. Sorry for the confusion there. For a second there, I didn't realize what he said.
Consider this creature to be described by Charles Doolittle. Number 3. Opabinia regalis was first described by Charles Doolittle
Opabinia.
Walcott in 1912. He considered this creature to be the most primitive of all arthropods due to its unusual anatomy.
Arthropod.
And the absence of certain arthropod-like features. This creature lived during the Cambrian period, approximately 508 million years ago. Opabinia regalis
505. Pretty close.
was found in the Burgess Shale, a rich deposit
Burgess Shale.
of well-preserved fossils in British Columbia, Canada. It was a small marine animal, reaching a length of up to almost 3 inches, or 7 centimeters. 2 of its eyes were attached to stalks, while the third pair...
Only small by our modern standards. During at the time that it lived, it was a giant at that size.
There wasn't. It also had a distinctive body shape with a long body and 5 pairs of swimming flaps on the underside. The most remarkable feature was a long flexible proboscis that extended from the front of the body and ended in a grasping claw. It had
I want a clawed proboscis on my face. That's not fair. I don't have any proboscis at all. Not clawed or anything.
trouble seizing small prey, such as worms or other invertebrates, from the seafloor.
That's not a worm or an invertebrate. That's a fish.
The swimming flaps would have allowed it to move through the water.
There would not have been fish around at this time, by the way. Just so we
In
were
a
clear.
series of undulating motions, similar to how a caterpillar moves. They were also covered in small appendages called setae, which likely helped the creature grip the seafloor.
Well, setae's not necessarily considered appendages. Setae's more comparable to a hair or a feather. It's a structural crudement.
Number 2. Isotellus rex is an impressive specimen, estimated to have been about 28 inches or 70 centimeters long, making it one of the largest trilobites known to science. This is a tremendous size compared to the most other trilobites.
Tremendous, like Trump would say. It's tremendous.
By fossils that were found, which are usually only about a few inches or centimeters long. So when a discovery of the largest known trilobite fossil was made, it excited scientists to learn more about it. The fossil consists of a nearly complete dorsal shield. A dorsal shield is the protective covering that runs along the top of the body, and it was found at a site in Manitoba, Canada. Isotellus rex was likely...
I do like how Manitoba, Canada, and they show a lake. It's like, yep, that's Manitoba.
a predator that hunted worms and other invertebrates on the seafloor. It's believed to have scuttled along the bottom of the ocean.
It also did not live alongside seahorses because there were not those types of organisms around at that time. We're talking the Ordovician for this guy.
Utilizing a combination of its numerous legs and flexible body segments to easily locate its prey.
I mean, I'm welcome to prove me wrong if you find ancestor to seahorses in the Ordovician. I'll eat my hat, but I have not seen anything about it.
Despite its size, Isotellus rex was well adapted to the ocean life. It's heavily armored.
Why would you say despite its size, though? That's weird.
Exoskeleton provided protection against predators and also aided in regulating its buoyancy. And thanks to its many legs, it can move quickly and efficiently through the water. Number 1. Permanent-Scorpius kirktonensis is an extinct...
I love Pulmonoscorpius. I love it. It's like one of my favorite extinct animals of all time. I know lots about it. So, what are you going to try to spin here, my friend? What are you going to try to sell me on?
Species of scorpion that lived during the early Carboniferous period, approximately 330 million years ago. This
Middle Carboniferous, but yeah, your date that you give is right in the middle of its range. Sure.
This species is one of the largest scorpions ever discovered, with the largest known individual estimated to be over 28 inches or 70 centimeters long. Fossil remains of this killer scorpion were first found in the Kirkton Formation of Scotland. Surprisingly, this prehistoric scorpion had soft tissue that was well preserved. This has allowed scientists to study the anatomy and behavior in greater detail compared to other fossils that have been found. Pulmoniscorpius kirktonensis likely inhabited various aquatic and semi-aquatic environments, including rivers, lakes.
No, it was terrestrial. Absolutely not. You were doing so good. You were doing good. And then you went to the water with Pulmonoscorpius. Let's break that down. Do you know what pulmono means? Pulmono means lung. These organisms had lungs. Not gills, lungs. They had book lungs. That's what they're famous for, having book lungs. So no, they did not live in an aquatic environment. These were terrestrial animals, fully terrestrial animals. They may have lived in burrows. Oh my goodness. Glad this was the last one. This has been fun, actually. I don't know how much more I can take, but it's been fun.
Lakes and swamps. It was also a highly effective predator, using its sharp claws and venomous sting to capture prey. One of the most notable features of this scorpion is its ability to breathe air, making it one of the earliest known scorpions to have developed this adaptation.
Well, it's the oldest that we have the lungs, right? That we have, that we're fully sure was completely terrestrial and had lungs.
Extinct insect would you like to see brought back to life? Let us know in those comments. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos we've made, click one on the screen or take a look at the channel. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.
All right. So that was bad, right? Was that bad? What do you guys think? Was that like some terrible science for you? Oh my goodness. Oh. No, I'm good. I'm gonna survive. Yeah, 7% correct on accident, by accident. Thank you for sticking around. If you enjoyed this type of segment where we dive into one of these bad science videos and explain why it's bad and how the information is incorrect and why you shouldn't do these top 10, top 20 lists, why you shouldn't take anything they say serious. Yeah, pretty sure it's a lazy content mill. I'm going to call them out, though. I'm going to call them out because people actually click on this and believe the stuff that these people tell them. So I'm going to call it out. Anyway, for the folks watching this on Monday, Anyway, for the people watching this tonight, thank you so much for joining me. Remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time.